Welcome traders to TradeSetup in a live stream. It is the, what have we got, the 6th of March, so I hope we all had a great weekend last few days. It's been beautiful weather down here, so I quite enjoyed myself just sitting back and relaxing. So hope we all did a bit of the same, and ready and raring today for the live stream. Now, if anyone that's new, I know what you can see on the screen here is our live stream page there, and you can join us on Twitter, as you see in the top left hand corner, or follow us on Facebook, and you'll see different bits and pieces come up there, or just link into us on or subscribe to us on YouTube channel there. So what you'll get with YouTube is every time we do go live, you'll just get a pop-up from YouTube saying, well, we're now streaming and we're right to go. So we've had a couple of little tiny issues with the push notifications on the actual app today, and that's got to do with we're doing an upgrade, so I think the developers are just tweaking a few things. So anytime that may happen, you can still get all the alerts on there, but anytime it does happen just with the push notifications themselves, you can always get it when we do go live on stream through YouTube. So I hope that all made a bit of sense, and like I said, if anyone that's new, just take note of that general advice warning there. We don't give oh, there we go. I just realised my head's on it. Let me just move that. I'll just move myself up to the top. There you go. So, there you go. General advice warning. We don't give specific advice or anything like that. It's just basically our views and opinions on the markets and the way we look at it. So, obviously, when we do our technical analysis, the way we look at it, our style of trading, I guess, which is tried and true and works well for us. Everyone's got to put in their own individual effort, I guess, and see what their personalities, or which way their personalities taken for technicals, at least anyway, or their style of trading, what best suits them. So yeah, what I'll do is move my head back down now. I like it in the bottom left corner, so there we go. So that was our general advice warning. What we'll do now is just get into it, and what you can see here is the markets. You should be able to see that pop up in a minute anyway. Yeah, the markets, well, I expected it to open a little bit higher today. It did have a good, our market had a good pop-up on Friday night, even though US was quite flat. I think Europe was actually a bit lower, but US pretty much didn't do too much over during the session, and we actually closed because we were headed south the prior session. We actually popped up in the futures market on Friday night, and we opened up closed up about 20 points higher, I think, on the futures. So that what we're looking at is our market just probably opened up around 15 points or so stronger, and we have kicked up about 15, I think, at one stage. And we'll just see those highs. We have been as high as 745. We're at 38 now, so yeah, about 15 points stronger today. Not much of a decent session today. US really, I think it's close to a foregone conclusion. There's going to be a rate rise in March this month. So I don't know exactly. It might be in a week or so. They'll come, the FOM. So US Fed Reserve will go and chat about their rates. And then I think it's pretty much they've been warning the market, trying to get everyone prepared for it. But I think they're looking at raising rates. Nothing's really going to change the next couple of weeks. If that's the case, I don't think that wouldn't expect any data to come out and surprise them. But yeah, that should look at raising rates, and then we'll see how we go going forward. US dollar did sell off on the back of that when Yellen pretty much said nothing else changes, rates will be lifted. I guess if you're reading between the lines, you didn't say that in black and white, but pretty much in between the lines, everyone's expecting it now. So the chances of rate hike of what everyone's expecting has gone right up. So it'd be interesting to see how the market takes it going forward, because I wouldn't expect them to come out at a rate hike and the US dollar to go nuts on the upside. I think it's factored in a bit, but we'll see. You never know with the markets. Always just, like I said, trade what you see, don't trade what you expect, because half the time you'll be wrong and half the time you'll be right, which is good, but you just want to wait until you see any action to see how it plays out. All right. I had... just before we get going, I had a request through on one of the videos. It's from a David Barlow. If you're sitting there listening or hear this later on, he wanted to take a look at some a video or something, just maybe would devote a bit of a stream to it, just on something for beginning traders, what to look at. Really, what I can do is put it from a technical point of view, and I think there might be a few people that it's good having a little recap, I guess, and just it's also asked about some stocks to look for. There's no, whether you're new or not new, there's not really any I guess stocks in specific stocks to actually look for when you're a new trader. You just really want to get, if you're going down the road of looking at fundamentals, then you want to learn that, obviously. Or if you're looking at technicals, you want to learn that and focus in on that. Sometimes it might be a bit easy to learn technicals, just learn the basics on that. And also, because my background's engineering, so it took me a while just to learn anything to do with fundamental analysis. It wasn't quite as easy to understand the economics behind it, but it was a lot easier just learning the basics for technical, and then just, I guess, over time and just getting better at that, getting to know what I was good at and what I wasn't, how I reacted to markets, different type of markets, and then just structure my trading around that. So we'll just go through and probably do that. Might have a look at that on Thursday. We could probably. What we may be doing down the track with TradeSetup, we might be doing a few videos on basic order entries, and I don't know if anyone there that's actually following the app and the alerts. We've tried to keep it as pretty standard and as clear as possible, but I think there might be still a bit of people don't quite understand the different types of orders out there, style of order, like buy on stop, stop limit. Limit order, so on. So we'll go through on how we set up an alert and what we expect, what we want to see before we actually enter. And we might just chat about those orders there. So there should be some resources coming too on orders for any beginners out there. Anyway, let's get into it. I hope that makes a bit of sense anyway. Just looking at what's happening around the market. So you can see, I think I don't like to do this, but we'll start off on SAS. Makes me cry, but I just want to go through this one. We had this, it turned out to be an awesome trade. There's no doubt about that. Let me just get the stats on it. So we originally bought it at just over 8.5 cents, 8.6 cents. And it was in January. So it was around, I think it was just on this spike through here. What we'll do, I'll draw this up. I just want to show you what happened. And what we were looking for anyway, and probably why we were a bit premature in getting out of that one. But you're not going to, no one's going to say no to it. What was it, 97% gain on that second half there? We did make only 20%. It makes the first partial exit look a bit insignificant in the end. 27, nearly 28%. So that's a good little gain, but geez, it took off, and you can see that there. We'll quickly have a look at this and why I think it went up a bit higher than what we were expecting and what we were looking at originally. It's probably a good point, actually. Let's just go do that now quickly. Well, we'll go in a minute. I'll just go over this and we'll take a look at some few of the stocks, a few of the currencies, and just some little alerts we got going there. All right, let me just get up my. All right. So that'll do. So where we bought it in here was just on that sort of breakthrough, pop up through the highs, and then we've got it was 8.6 cents, and then we can see that holding high lows. So that was looking great. And you can see it's kicked up, made that sort of U shape, which we always like to see, and especially when it's building a high low. So it's really just come back down and test that sort of support zone through. It's probably mainly through here, around that 9 cent mark. Draw that up a bit clearer. So we had this nice structure, and for any, I guess, new traders, now that we know that they're watching, any new traders, what we're looking for is just we want to see these, we call them high lows. So we want to see price action building. All right, so we can see high lows here and here, and that's just evidence that we can see from a chart. that buyers are starting to step in at higher prices, and they're happy to accept higher prices for obviously their premises that the market's going to move higher. So they don't want to miss out, basically, and that's the reason why we see higher lows build. And sometimes it could be against the flow when you also see lower highs. And that's probably when you're going to go back a step and look at the longer term structure, say on a weekly potentially, and just see which way the market's biased. Okay, you can see here it's biased up. You've had that push up. We've had a push up here, a bit of a pullback here, a bit of a push up, and then we've had some lower highs build, push the market down. That's just a bit of profit taking until this stage. It was say mid-December, and then we started building higher lows again. So that's nice, and we want to try to get that. We want to try to get a trade early. That's the anticipation, is to buy in the unknown, not the known when everyone else knows. And that's what that trade there was. We're buying it in the unknown. We saw a higher low building here. It got close to retested, and the market's taken off here. We've popped up, come back down and retested, and then really started accelerating high. And you can see those took out those highs, or just retested 12, pulled back, consolidated for a few days in here, and then bang, off she goes. The rest is history. What we'll do is just clear up this chart. So what we were looking at that stage, the reason why we got out at around, we were projecting around, say, 17.5, 18, purely and simply, is because I was looking at this, we call it volatility projection. Now that there, if you take from low, we're making our low here for that move up. If you take it from this low, it took us to around, I think it was that low, yep. Took us to around 17, if you can measure that out roughly, or it might have been in here. But we took us to about 17, so we were happy to take it there, especially when you're up about nearly 100% on that second half. It's quite a good, definitely a good little gain. There's no doubt about that. So that's the reason why. But now if you go back and take a look at it, this type of move here wasn't really corrective action. It was more just sideways action. What you want to see is corrective action's more when you get a push down. It goes to take out the highs, and it builds that lower high like we saw here, and then we get this little lows taken out with a move through, just a bit of a washout. So that there is more correction. It's starting to build for another leg higher. So we know our new leg high was from around that 7 mark, but the thing is with this one, it wasn't really a new leg up here. That leg really started from all the way down. It was around 1.5 cents up to 12. So that's 11.5 cents. Add that to 17, it's about 18.5, 19. So really, I think we overblew that mark a bit, but we could have just held on just to say, okay, let's just see what happens from here, see if it can kick on. And we could have got a few more cents, which is only really probably another 10% gain. But I just thought it'd be interesting showing you where sometimes, you get your analysis wrong and it can cost you a few cents, but just the difference between, say, that type of price action and this corrective price action. Okay, when you get a lower high build and a lower low. So that's more corrective. That brings in a few selling, a bit of profit taking, whereas this is not building, a lower. There's nothing really in here that's building too much. It's not significant anyway. So really that leg started way back down here around 1.5 cents. So you got that volatility projection like we said. You can take it from around 1.5 cents up to about 12. Take the lows from, say, this 7 and just project that up to see roughly where it was stopped. And in hindsight, it actually blew straight through that anyway. So not such a big deal, but we could have really held that, I think it's about another, we up about 15% today, another 5% or so the other day. So could have got another 10 to 15% out of that easy. Anyway, that's just a bit of a bugger, but anyway, it's good. Yep, that's exactly right. And probably, I'll admit, that's probably one of my things is more, okay, sometimes I would look at it rather than, like I was chatting with Davin, you don't know, even though the market's extended, say, it's extended on all time frames. And this is an interesting one just to go back and view it for your own personal, I guess, own personal trading, just to try to increase those abilities, is just looking at when the market's extended. Let's just go look at the monthly. Whoop. You can see that monthly is getting towards, just over the 8% on the stochastic. So you'd say that's getting a bit extended on the upside. The weekly's in a similar zone. The daily's surely well into truly in that zone after today. So all three, time frames, the monthly, weekly, and daily, are extended. So that's one of the reasons why I got out, and I tend to do that a bit, and I tend to look at, am I happy with what I've got? Up around 100%. Sometimes that's going to work against me because the market's just going to keep going. And that's what you don't know. You don't know what it's going to happen. You don't know if there's a news event that was somebody knows something in this that comes out and just, market spikes harder, and then you can get, sometimes you can get a hell of a lot more, maybe 20, 30% more gains. So it can work against you, and sometimes it does work in my favour, where I'll get out of a certain area where there's no real, at that stage, say 17, 18, there's no real reason to get out of that. The market spiked. I know it's overextended. I was just happy. So that's a little bit of a shortfall in my trading, which I try to work on anyway. So there's times where I might miss out on the big one, and that's why it's good to have, potentially you take a partial and you just let the rest run, or you can, we took we took half off around, I think it was around 11, just up into those highs. The market's pulled back, built another high low, and then gone. It's gone really strong. We could have taken, instead of taking the rest off, just taken, another quarter off or something like that, and just let that remaining trade just to see what happens. If it comes back and stops you out, so be it. You're not going to lose too much, but to potentially really try to extract more gains out of it anyway. So I hope that makes sense there, guys. All right, the market's up only 8 at the moment. Let's just take a look at... Hey, how you going? Is it Skytam? Stock code PRG. All right, we'll take a look at that in a minute. PRG. Let me just write that down. And if I do forget, just remind me. I'm just going to go through a couple of little things, and then we'll get into taking a look at some stocks. So you can see this is a 30-minute chart on the ASX. It was getting a bit extended today, and we've probably got a bit of a flush out. The market's moved back down. It's only really gone and retested that support, so potentially this could be building for a higher low at 57.12, say 57.10 on the ASX. Let's just take a look at the ASX actually. The XJO. So you can see this is a key sort of a move up here. You can see that market's rolled over. It was a key level up here, say 57.50, and it sold off quite hard. All right, what we did, it's only a minor bounce back, and we went down and retested that low at around 56.75. Retested it, then took off. But the thing is, we took out this half an hour high low. What am I talking about? Lower high. All right, and that was around that 57. That's a key move at 57.50. That was a key move to take that up. I know it was on the open on Thursday. Took that out, did nothing on Thursday too much. Friday, we had that sell-off overnight, and we opened lower and just sort of consolidated on those lows. So that's a nice little sign, and you can see we're just starting to work up off those lows at 57.10 to 15. All right, so just take, and this is why sometimes it's good to look at the lower time frame charts as well, just to get a note. So really what we could be looking for, we don't know yet. This is just preemptive. We could be finding that's going to build that higher low. All right, so maybe that we got that little washout, and we did that before at 5600, washed out, and then it took us up to, after we got that washout, took out all those inside levels, those lower highs, took those out and trading up through 5800, a bit of a back off. And we've mentioned this before, and that's really just a bit of a correction of this move up. It really didn't correct along the way at all. Potentially that's just a correction. We've got the washout at 57, and then we've had that good strong day up, bit of a pullback, and we could just start working our way back up and through 58, I think it's 25, 27, and just kick our way on, like we said before, to 6,000. So that's potentially what could be happening. We don't know just yet, but just by looking at those, we've got a bit of a lead from those 30-minute time frames. It's always good to look at. But we'll see how we go. This could be a higher low. I mean, that's what we want to see. And if it gets up through, these, what's that, high 57.75 zone, just through those highs on a 30-minute chart, then you'd think that's an inside level. It's gone up through. That's a confirmed higher low. And then that market could be really pushing up to at least 58.20 and potentially beyond that. So I thought I'd just bring that up. Let's just take a look at... That's not what I want to see. Where am I? Here we go. So that's a 30-minute chart there. And it could easily do that. A bit of a washout today. And we could just work our way up with some high lows, high highs, work our way back up here. And through that resistance level then, just in here, 57.75. Now, let's go and look at the S&P. I don't know, like I said, if you're following us. Now, am I looking a bit blurry on the camera there, guys? Is that? Oh, no, it's just me. Sorry. Let's just make that a better quality. All right, all good. For anyone that's followed this S&P trade, it wasn't. We didn't actually say buy on it, I'll admit that, but we wrote out what we expected to happen, and it played out to a T pretty much. And if I can get out, I can just, okay. It was basically at this point here, we were expecting a bit of a kick up. And the reason behind that, for any of you who haven't been following, we had a big level up here at 2303, had that pushed down, and you can see that support built around 2267. Now that's great. You know, lower highs, lower low. It's pretty much, I guess, what we saw in the ASX. Retest here, pop up, take out that key level there at 2281, pull back, and sometimes they go a bit deeper. It's just really gone and on a very slight scale, built a higher low, but that's essentially a retest at 2267, and we worked our way up. Then we consolidate around these highs, just below that previous high at 2303. Really nice sign, and we know that, and we spoke about this before, just knowing that there's going to be a lot of shorts built up in there, probably below that, and below this major major high at 2303. And you know, when a lot of, this is why I say try not to be a bull or a bear, try to sit on the fence a bit, because sometimes you can miss these types of opportunities. And if you're a bit of a bear, you're looking at, you're sort of polarizing your view of this market. And when I say polarizing, I mean you're looking for any reason to enter short, and you did get it. But the problem was there was no confirmation this was heading south. All you really got was a lower high. You know, you got a bit of resistance built up under here, under 2303 at 2298. Then you got it again here. But what we always look for is that washout, and I think what Davin calls it wash and run. It'll wash one side and then run. So if it knows there's a few shorts built up, it can tend to just wash out the downside, bring a few more shorts up, and then just go and blast them all out of the market, which it pretty much did. And we looked at it at this stage. So when you got all this price action built up, and we know that there was a hell of a lot of short interest built up in the market, they're pretty much well outweighed in the long positions. So you know that's potentially a lot of fuel that could really take this and drive this market higher. And we did. We got that. It played out beautifully. We took out this little resistance level, minor resistance, inside resistance at 2298. So when we got 2295, sorry. Once we got a push up there, more than happy to go long in there. And you can see the MAs were starting to work its way up higher. All this major support here, a major resistance zone, which potentially is going to start blasting through those and just start stopping out all those short positions. And you can see it played out beautifully, and it happened time and time again. Same thing in here. Nice short squeeze up here. Brought them back in, but it really didn't break that trend up at all. At any stage, it retested some lows down here. Potentially, you know, you're getting shorts built up in here, trying to second guess that rollover, all the bears, and then turn around and blast them back out. Same thing happened in here, happened in here. What we're looking at now is potentially for that same thing to happen. You know, you've got a really extended higher. Let's delete that. It's really pushed up higher, and that was on the back of the Trump, his speech to Congress. Blasted up high, but we really haven't changed. That trend still has not changed. So if you're looking at going long, you know, you can do whatever you want, but I wouldn't go near this. Just at the moment on the long side, I would want to see these key levels. And this is not a key level I've marked up at 2371. It's really just retesting that breakout point. All right, more than likely the key level is down here at 2351. So I've still got about 20 points to go on that S&P on the mini. But yeah, so this could easily just work its way off, wash out that zone, and then start working higher lows and really squeeze these shorts that are built in all the way through down here. So it's still weighted to the short side, so just be careful of that. I thought I'd bring that up. Our pound going nice. It did wash out that zone if you're following that one at 2262. It's just popped up, and I think it's on the back of some US dollar weakness. But I'd expect that they potentially could just work its way higher. The trend is still down and could build up another lower high. Bring in a few longs, long positions, and just squeeze them back out of the market on its way down. But we'll see how that plays out. And you can see that that move up was quite strong. It's not big on as in pip value. If you just, well, you can see that move up. Pips wise, it's not too much. But with stochastics, that move up was it's quite strong. Whether we see this as a bit of a washout, it's come back down to our support zone. If we can move that one. Our support zone, so we did expect it to pop through 22.62 on the downside. It did go do that, and it's just bounced back in, back above. Where we could see is just a bit of a contraction high and then start rolling over and make a new leg high. We'll just have to see how that plays out. But either way, that's looking good. From where we alerted it, somewhere in here. I can't quite remember. You can go back on the alerts and just check that out. And I'm sure we'll probably send something out later today anyway. So yeah, it's interesting just to see if you can get an idea of where you think there might be a few longs or shorts built up. It's always advantageous to take note of those, because if everyone sort of is lined up one way, whether it be long or short, whatever you're trading. If you're trading, so for instance, we can see that was traders were built up long. I don't know, but you can see me pointing to my screen, which doesn't make much sense. You can see that was a good little, at that stage was a good little support level. So we know if it broke through there, it's going to drag in all these long positions that are built up, drag them in, probably stop them out. And that's enough fuel to give it to a move down to the next support level, which has just broken through. So if you can sort of analyze that on the market, you say, well, look, if it gets through a particular level, I can see that there's probably going to be a lot of buyers that have loaded up in there above that support level, and they'll probably more than likely have some stops there, so you know that's going to be enough fuel. And if you get your lower high, like we've got in here, or the reverse, say, for the S&P, when we've got it way back here, you know that there's going to be some shorts built up, shorts. And if that's rolling over, we know that it's probably going to have a few shorts built up. So, and they're probably, if we see a nice little setup, a higher low, which we got, they could potentially get squeezed out. So you're taking that risk, but you know that there's probably going to be enough fuel there to get that move. It's going to be a move, and if you don't see it, if you don't see what you expect, as in it's going to move hard and fast, you can always just stop yourself out or take it out at a small gain, small loss. No hard feelings. That's the way it happens. But then what you're actually putting on your side is the probability if you get a good, strong move higher. And that's what you're looking for. And you get that accelerated move higher, which is what we got on the S&P, or still going now. And we did get that little acceleration lower. This is a 4-hourly chart, but if you go down a couple of time frames, probably 30-minute could be all right. You can see that acceleration lower, especially around this candle here on the 4-hourly, just bang, straight down, probably about 80, 90 pips at that stage. So yeah, definitely something to look out for in your trading. Now, what we'll go through, guys, feel free to, we've got one we're going to look at now. I'll get that up. What's that, PRG? We'll take a look at that, but feel free now to send in any other charts, stocks that you want to take a quick look at, and just see what your views are on them. Just set up and bounce off the support at 173. So we've got here, we're going to take a look at PRG, and you were saying that you like the bounce off support at 173. Let's just take a look at it then. Look, that's clearly nice. Nothing program maintenance. I haven't looked at this at all. Let's go through it. It's actually quite a nice little trade. And the reason why I like it, and I'm hoping it's exactly the same reason why you like it here, is the fact that you're trading pretty much on an inside level. You've got a few resistance levels to contend with, and nothing's confirmed that this could just as easily roll over from here, from this price structure. You've got a high here, it's pushed down, it's worked its way back up. That's that high that's working, is still in play. You built a lower high in the longer term time frames. I mean, it's a very long time frame. Here, still putting pressure on the market. Then you've got that accelerated sell-off, and it's really just gone down into support. So that's a good little sign. And it has washed out that dollar zone, which is another good sign. But there is still potential off the weekly charts. This is going to be another lower high, just in here around that 220 mark, and it's still putting pressure on the market. But the thing is, if you just look at it here, we've also got that higher low. So if you put it in, if you add up the, what's waiting it for a good buy, you've got a double bottom, major double bottom. You've got a little washout here. So anyone that's been selling it through here is potentially going to get squeezed back out of the market, or, there's new traders, fuel in the way of new traders starting to look at it. and potentially looking at that move through here, which is, I think, it's a key level, which are just about there now, the high 196.5, say. And we can squeeze, so if you're looking at it from the short side, you've got this lower high here after this big move down, and remember, in context of what's happened on the weekly, big accelerated move down, we've got that retest support at $1. It's worked its way back off, but you've still got a lower high in the longer term frame at 3 that's putting pressure on the market. Potentially and you've got that confirmation. Let's just draw it up. I think it's probably a bit easier. All right, so you've got lower high in the long time frame, potential another lower high, and you can see that market. And don't forget that's a major support zone there at $1. Market's corrected off, especially after the accelerated move down. You expect that. That's not too strong. So what you'd need really is a bit of a washout, which you probably got that, and a bit of a move lower and build another higher low. So you've got, for the buyers, you've got a double bottom at around $1. You've got this higher low that's built and it's starting to get confirmed. But really what I'd love to see is that, break up through 195, 196, which we're very close to doing. Break up through there, and I think that's going to drag in some buyers, because then you've got your double bottom, higher low, and then the first port of call, which we might find a bit of resistance up towards 220. But this is a great little, it is an ideal setup there. You've got a fair bit of work just done in here in conjunction with what we see, a double bottom and a higher low. That could really bring in some buying. Does that make sense there? To everyone there? So that break there really confirms that that's a high low. Oh, not so much this one, but it confirms this is a high low here. Once you get a break up through there, or even just a retest of there, that's a confirmed high low. So what we want to see is obviously that break. We want to buy into strength. We don't want to be buying when on a pullback, because sometimes on a pullback you just get flushed out of the market. You don't know where it's going to go, but when you're going with the momentum, that's always, I guess, is the better way to trade. Put it on your side. So push up through here, I'd expect this market to start attacking at least 220, and that's enough pressure on the upside too to start attacking 220 and get anyone that's sold it in here get a bit nervous, or any buyers that are you get buyers clapping their hands if they see that. Anyone that's been holding it from way back, around $3 holding the longs, is starting to finally see a bit of action. And that, don't forget, that is 2016, so it's done a year. It's worked its way back up. A few months it's sold off down to 135, and then it started finding some buyers. Buyers are stepping in here at higher levels. Longer term buyers maybe in here. That's a higher low than the dollar. Again, the buyers are stepping in here and starting. We've got that little acceleration high, so we're seeing really nice early signs that this thing's going to kick on. All right, does that make sense there, guys? But yeah, I think that's got some definite potential if it gets through. This is what we call an inside continuation. So you've got a few factors working in your favour. Inside continuation, a breakthrough 196, say, and then you'd expect it with that type of trade structure, that pattern. You'd expect it to push up through 220 and start bringing some, buyers that just want longer term confirmation, but their stops would be down here. I'd ideally put my stop around that 165 mark on a break through 196, sorry. And that way you're anticipating that break up through 220 as well, and you're sort of front running that break. And that way you give yourself at least a break-even trade potentially if it fails, or you can get a little bit of a gain there. But if we get that break in here, you've got longer-term traders start buying it around this mark on a breakthrough, say 225. They really would, you'd expect them to put their stops down here just from that price structure, and they'll be looking up towards, $3. So that gives us an easy, it was about 4 or 5 to 1 trade if we get a push up to $3. And it's only really attacking that most recent longer term lower high. So looking good, looking really nice. Ansel. I think there's a few jokes to be cracked there, but I'll keep away from it. In SGR, we'll take a look at that in a second. So just looking at the daily chart, you can see it's definitely from about $15. It's been trending higher. We're down on support around 21. Found some support in there. So the market sort of pushed higher. It tried to pushed through those recent highs at 24. It did close above there and then sold off. I don't think it found the strength that it needed. It probably needed to build another higher low just in here to kick on through. Couldn't get there and washed out those lows, but really, again, it's just a reverse of that move. Bust through those highs, just really broke through those lows and then took out those highs again. So you can see this type of price action, it's still a bit uncertain. For me, just that price action there, it's, you sort of have evidence of buyers winning there, then they all gave up the ghost and the sellers started winning. Buyers took control again and washed out these highs. But then we've come all the way back down to retest that zone there at 21. So in conjunction with that, we can see that move up, say from February 2016, the last year, has been higher. So if we just go back a chart, and just before we do, you can just see that this move up from, say, around this zone, you can see it's pushed down quite strong with this movement, pushed down quite strong, and it's been bought up pretty hard by the stochastics. The strength of the move up, the buyers are getting soaked up with selling. So I'd just be wary of that. I'd want to see, a bit of a break high. We haven't broken any significant level on the daily. There really is not too much of a strong level there. You've got this level that's broke to 21.5, but I think the key is if you can break up through 22, I'd expect to see a bit more price action before. Not so much like this, if that makes sense, because it could lead to a 4-to-1 trade, 3-to-1 trade, which is all right. But for a longer term trade off this double bottom here, I want to see that push up, pull back and build a major higher low. That's what I'd ideally like to see from here. I'll draw that up in a sec. And just by looking at the longer term charts, I guess it's sort of the reverse. So from a weekly, we're in oversold territory and it's starting to lift up off. So there is signs from a weekly it's starting to hold that 21. But the daily, like I said, I want to see that spike up or potentially a wash out of there and then get that bought up pretty quick. Wash out of, say, those lows, 2060, and just see those longer term, traders from the weekly charts just starting to buy it up and suck up at those, or soak up that selling. So does that make sense there, John? Just on Ansel, I think it's this sort of move up. You got the accelerated move high and then a big flush out. It took out pretty much any key level it had. Let's actually just draw it. It's not what I want. So you got from here, you had a nice little, great little trade here. I think we actually took that way back. I know we didn't. I'm lying. No, we haven't traded Ansel at all. What am I talking about? But that was ideal. That was really nice. You can see that accelerated move high. And generally when you get that really accelerated move, that strong move, you need a better correction. I would have expected something like this to build, but hold above this support zone here and then start to work off longer term for a nice, that's ideal price action to work its way high. It didn't play out and it just went bang straight down. And we washed out the support zone through, was around 18. We have worked our way off there, but just take note of this type of price action here. We just flushed out 25, so this could be a major lower high. So you got, just mark that up there. We've got highs up here, and we're looking at another lower high on a major scale. So what we could get is really price breaking through. We might get to work its way up off here. Well, that's the support around 21, okay? We've had that move up here, and we've come all the way back down. We may just get it work its way off, and then it slammed back down through that support zone. So the weekly, it could be read either way. We have had a push up here, but the fact that it's broken through support and you've got a potential major lower high here, especially you can see that contraction. That contraction back up in conjunction, in reference to that move down. It's contracted back up. We could be going again. We could be going back down to at least test 15 or even making some new lows in the longer term. Don't know just yet. If we go to the daily, what do or don't we want to see? and that's why I'm not too happy about seeing that major support through here. Don't like seeing that there. Don't like seeing that too much, and just that not a strong move, these previous highs, and then you get that wash out the highs, wash out the lows, wash out the highs. That's not strong price, and then we've moved all the way back down, back into those lows at 21. That's not strong. I wouldn't want to see that move up and then start to fail with lower highs. I'd expect that to take us down through support at around 2021, 2050, $20.50. Does that make sense there? And the fact that we're in overbought territory could easily just push back up and then roll over from there. All right, let's so I guess that was on the short side. What we would like to see on the long side, if you've got a support, the fact that this could easily just as well be a long. We want to see it work its way off potentially, may come back down and retest, and then start building some higher lows again. So that, I think, on this second move, after you get a bit of a push higher, try to retest that zone and build a major higher low. And that's confirmed with that, an inside higher low, I guess you can call it. And that there would be a nice little entry on the long side, because that way I think we spent a lot of time bringing in some more buyers, and there's just more confirmation that this zone is going to hold up at 21, and we're not going to get that weekly lower high like we mentioned. That's starting to hold up, and we're starting to get an attack back up towards 30. But I think there's a fair bit for longs. There's a fair bit more price action I'd want to see first before I'm happy to go long, purely because of what I'm seeing here on the downside. Well, I hope that made sense. What do we here? Star Entertainment Group. We're on the weekly. All right. So just looking at the week, we had a good move up here. Okay, we've had a sharp correction lower. That was brought back up, and then we had another move lower. So on the weekly, we're definitely... I don't like it when it happens. On the weekly, we definitely got markets moved higher. We're definitely correcting at the moment. So we just want to find a spot on the weekly. This is a leg up, you always generally need correction. You need correction to, that selling to be get out in the market, to push out of the market. Any buyers to be pushed out of the market that have bought it up here at this level, maybe at this level. Any of the late buyers that bought it up here probably flushed out of the market. So you just want to see how many you get flushed out, put on the sidelines. So that would be ideally more fuel for this another leg up. So we've got first leg up, correction, contraction lower, and then potentially another leg higher. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for an area where that could happen. So just from here, it says a bit of a support zone potentially. It's not confirmed. So we see that it's down here. We've had a good strong move up, which was brought up here. A push down into sort of a support zone around that 465. But it's not confirmed. There's no support confirmed. We've still got lower highs on the weekly. All right, this is potentially another lower high. So you've got a high up here, lower high in here, which pushed, it built a move, I guess, down and just flushed out this little low, back down into support. It's popped back up, and potentially we're seeing another lower high. MAs are down. Another lower high on the weekly charts, which could be pushing it through 470. We don't know. So really taking a step back, that's the weekly. So you want to go down and drill down a chart just to see if we're going to see that support zone hold up. So go down to the daily chart now. We'll just draw that up. So on the... Just remember we've got that move down, we've got that high low, we've got our little support zone, potential support zone yet. Nothing's confirmed. On the daily, it looks a bit better. All right, and what I mean by that, we've got that pop up, a push down into support. So really, if we get what I'd like to see is that pop up through. Pop up through, say 315, and for me that would more confirmation this is a high low on a daily basis, and especially after we got that little wash out of that support of this low. It's not a serious washout, and it's really only pushed a little, a few cents lower, say 5 to 10 cents lower, into a little deeper into that support zone. But it's really that's a weekly support, so you can get a bit choppy. really for me, I'd like to see a pop up through 515, say 520, a push up. Maybe you get a bit of contraction lower, and then look for a higher low to build. That confirms that's a higher low, a little higher low, so we can define our risk, and that potentially could take us up through, and that could lead us to a leg up to 315 and even higher, because that would mean to me there could be a lot in it. All right, just remembering what we're looking for a buy zone on the weekly charts, which could be here, may or may not, we don't know yet. And we'll try to take advantage of the unknown, remember. Buy into the unknown, and that they're drilling it down to the daily. Could be pop up through that resistance, say 515. Maybe pull back to retest and we get that higher low off it. All right, so that's not a bad little sign that could be a good zone to buy. We at least get a move up to 515. If that's a double top, okay, so be it. We've got a good little trade on our belt, but it could turn out to be really nice if that's another weekly. This is the base for another weekly move higher. That's going to take us up and through 520, and geez, who knows where from there, but just follow it from there. Oh, does that make sense there, guys? Does that help there, John? Does that oh, you think I'm talking rubbish? All right, anything else, guys, while we're CKF? That was in a little alert there at what was it? We wanted 602, but it wasn't quick enough to get on the send the alert out. But we got about 604.5 on that. Pushed up into the close on Friday, opened a bit high and just gone bang straight down today. But still, that trade is valid right up until 570 breaks. If 570 breaks, then on the downside, then that trade is going to be over, and it's getting a bit played. We don't know, but we'll see. But it's an ideal. You can see this structure pushed up, contraction lower, lower high, lower low. Held up with this higher low build. It's inside higher lows. Beautiful little entry up through 470.75 with that push up. I don't know where we got it. I can never quite remember. We did quite well on that. Yeah, it was somewhere around in here anyway. With that push up there, this is contracting lower, so we're really just looking. This is potentially a good zone. You can see everything starting to line up, and then we got that daily little setup here. We took a stab at it. We'll see how that plays out, but just today is not looking too kind. But we'll see. It's still well and truly in play there. Wow. Are you saying wow, that was a good explanation, or wow? I don't know. I like my jokes either. Anyway, guys. Looking too early on the price section. Look, the thing is, John, you're looking at it, and you're looking at it. You're getting yourself into the right zone. The difference between, I guess, maybe it's coming down to refining. It's refining those setups. But what you're ideally trying to do is just, was that the one? SGR? It's not really too early on this one. What was the other one? Ansel. It could be on Ansel. We don't know yet. But what you're doing, you're seeing it, and you're seeing some good stuff. Now it's having a good entracement. We'll look at that in a second. There's SkyTam. We'll look at BWX. We traded that quite a bit in the past. But yeah, like I was saying, John, it's no, you if it's a weekly basis you go on, there's nothing wrong with looking in there. You just put it on your radar, and then it's really just looking from the daily is what you want to see. And I think potentially if we see that push up through there, I would be following this now. Actually, I think I'm going to put it on my watch list. 7 million, more than enough volume on that. I just think it's got a bit of work to do. So you're still looking at it quite nicely. All right, let's look at WOW. This on a daily basis, for what we look at, that's great. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 tests down in the sort of that $20.50 to $20.50 zone, which is really good. And then it's bang, took out the most recent lower high at around 23, and then we've just come and built 1, 2, 3 lows there and just bang. So ideally, if you're looking at this at that stage, would have been a great little trade. Because if you just look at recent price action too, it's not. And sometimes this is where you've got to, I guess, just adjust the way you enter, just by looking at the actual price action, what happens on that stock, because each stock can some can be really clean, some can be a bit harder to pick, but ideally you're looking for evidence of buyers stepping in if you want to go long, or sellers stepping in, further selling stepping in if you want to go short. So at this stage we've got that move down, and you can see here this is obviously a place of interest for some buying. We don't know until this this lower high is, I guess, broken, which it was in this little candle here, and then we got that move up to 26, push all the way back down. We've got a little level here. I wouldn't buy it necessarily just in here, because I think it's also taken out. We don't know how far that's going to correct. It's built that 1, 2, 3. By the time we get to this stage, that was, I think, a great little entry here, because you've got a nice support zone building at around 22, 25. Little inside level here, if you can see that. This is what really perks my interest, that type of price action, because you've got major support zone building, and you're looking for another leg higher off another major support zone around that 20-25, which produced that leg up. So ideally, if we're looking for a leg up, we've got from, say, 20 up to 26, $6. Add that to 22-25, say. So it can take us all the way up to 28-25. And getting that little structure there, you got next to no risk for the potential payout, and it's probably still on its way up there now. And that could easily take us into another resistance level around 28. It sort of coincides with that level too. So I think, I guess what I'm trying to say is that for me, maybe a tad too late, because you've got to look at it now and go, okay, that's a great entry at that stage, because you can really front run a break of that high. But at this stage right here, I think that leg's gone up a bit too far for me to be interested. So really, you got to look at it in context of what's happening on the weekly chart. Step back and you think, maybe even have to step back a bit. It could just be moved. That could be a major lower high. We don't know what's going to happen. So really, I'd probably be just stepping. I'd want to see a similar type of price action on the daily to get it potentially another leg higher. I think it's got a bit more to go. I mean, you could trade it, like we said, you can trade it up to 28 thereabouts. It's probably, you just look for that little setup like we saw here around that 23 mark. You can see that sort of contracting in. We're holding higher lows, a potential another inside higher low here at 22.75. Take through a breakthrough here. Even that, you can see that candle there, a breakthrough here. That's led to a nice little gain on that trade. Whether we look for a similar style entry here, we're going with that daily trend. Maybe starting to get a bit stretched on that daily, but hey, our risk is going to be quite low. Even if it takes up to 26.75, it still could be a 2-to-1 trade. We don't know. So there could be something. I'd just like to see that set up for now. Does that make sense? If you're gonna take advantage of potentially, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, potentially the end of that move up around 28. There's still some fat in that trade either way. But just look at this stochastics. It's got a bit extended up here. So sooner or later, I expect a bit of correction on the weekly, and it might take us a fair bit lower. It may retest down towards here, build a major higher low. We don't know what's going to happen, but on the weekly chart, it's starting to get a bit extended. It's a bit stretched up at these levels, and it may take us up to 28. So you just got to have these things in your back of your mind if you're going to go long. I guess what I'm trying to say, there could be something better to look at. But it's a viable trade. What was the other one? BWX. Yeah, no, that's perfect there on PRG anyway. I think that's good. Great minds think alike, eh? Is that right? BWX, haven't looked at this for a while. Let's just go back, look at the weekly. I think that's everything, isn't it? Don't worry, we'll look at the daily. Alright, so for a long, we were trading it, I think, right through 2016, just buying it off higher lows. You're following that trend higher. Then we got this price action, which really, I think we got stopped out on that price action there. But still, it was, I think it was a gain anyway for the last trade. But we did, overall net, we did quite well on that, on BWX. We draw that up now. What I'm seeing There's a few pluses and minuses. All right. You've got 1, 2, 3 legs. So A, B, C, whatever you want to call it. And it's come off that base there around 390, which is quite good. You don't know if this is just going to be another, maybe it's retesting that 320. It's getting a bit extended up to 320. It's in a good, really nice spot though on the stochastics. Let's just quickly look at what the weekly's saying. Whereas the weekly stochastics are rolling over. So you've got, from pure and simply a stochastics point of view, they're going loggerheads. They're saying two different things, I guess. But it doesn't really matter if you're looking at it from a weekly point of view. Just remember, because on the daily, there could be more than enough fat in that trade. You know, if you're going to go long, for instance, and it works its way back up to 5, you take it from 460, okay, you get 20 cents, say, out of that trade. Nothing wrong with that on a daily basis. And then it rolls over on the weekly, you're proven wrong, so on. So, but just have it in the back of your mind. It's not an absolute perfect trade. Nothing is, I guess, but just have it in the back of your mind what's happening on the weekly basis. So you got to look for now a nice little entry on off a daily chart. Definitely, that is, the market's moved lower. It's that strength of that move lower is quite. You can see from the stochastics, it's extended to the downside, oversold, whatever you want to call it. But it's potentially going to hold a high low. Did I take a snapshot of that? Yep. No. Oh, I did. Getting myself confused here. So you can see that move down. Stochastics is quite a solid move down, but they're soaking it up. The buyers are starting to soak it up, and we're getting around 450. So it could be a high low, another high low on its way back up. All right, building, we don't know. We really want confirmation. I feel that a push up through 480 would be confirmation. A pop up through 480, and what I would look for from there is really push down. It's touched down on that support. It could just be consolidating through here. We might get a better chance, another lower high, and then we can go with a breakthrough here, but we haven't. At the moment, I'd like to see a pop up. We'll just change colours. I would like to see that pop up through 480. All right, and then get a high low to work off. And then you can easily get that, or you can just work off that high low. You know where your risk is going to be. And that could easily take us at least to 510, potentially 520, and higher. All right, so there's a lot working for this trade. It's just, the setup for me is just not there, but it's so close to happening. But remember, you want to be nimble on it too. The fact that this price structure on the weekly is still holding, is still a downtrend on the weekly. All right, up until this is broken, this breached, that was at 520 level. All right, does that make sense there? So this could easily just go, bang, straight through. And then you go, okay, maybe this the weekly traders are taking advantage because you've got a lot of buyers that have held it for quite a while. It hasn't really gone to test where it opened. I don't remember what they're actually doing. I haven't followed it for a while. But, if someone's held it from when it floated, I don't know what price it would have been. Say it's below $2, you're sitting on a healthy gain there. You've had that move down and flush out. You've held it through this, and then you're getting another potential lower high. You're just going to go, look, I'm just going to take some profits, sit on the sidelines and see what happens from there. So it's really, at the moment, it's a bit of an each way bet. We'll just have to see how the price action plays out. All right, guys. I hope that helped there. What I'll do, I'll probably call it a day. Hope you enjoyed that. Let's just see where the market's at. We've got Coke is still working quite well. We've got a div on that, so it's, even though it's gapped up on the open, I think that price structure, I really like it. And we probably could start to get it, a bit of pressure up towards that $11 mark, from sellers, but it's really coming from a really strong base. You can see it's pushed up, retested the lows, made a lower high, washed out the lows. So when you come off a lower high, you wash it out and it doesn't hold. You can't get that, further selling. It's starting to get bought up from here. That's a great sign. So you can see that up off $8. It's starting to look really nice. So I expect that to go through 8. We'll just have to see how it plays out. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. We'll see how everything goes today. It's really doing nothing since we've been speaking. It's been up about 8 or 9 points since we spoke. It hasn't done too much. So we'll see if that strength or weakness, see what plays out. I think it's really everything's centered around the US at the moment. We'll be back on Thursday, so yeah, please join me. And like I said before, if you like the video and you like what you see, please, if you can do us a little favor and leave us a like there, or even leave us a comment. So, and it's more than helpful. Give us some things to look at too. Thanks, Frank. You're a handsome bloke, aren't you? Yeah, leave us a like there, and then we'll just go from there. Thanks, guys. We'll speak to you on Thursday. Cheers, guys. Bye.